Good morning, everyone. Good morning, students. Good morning, everyone. Fine. In the last lecture, we discussed about asexual reproduction. We move on to the next one, details of sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. In this part of the chapter, we will discuss about so many different aspects of sexual reproduction. Already the term has been introduced in the beginning of the chapter, where you have learned that it essentially involves formation of gametes and their fertilization or fusion to form zygote. And it's that zygote that gives rise to new organism. Formation of a zygote is an essential component in this entire story. So either same parent, like in case of what we have learned, in case of tapeworm, it's a single parent, which is providing male and female gametes. Or else the two different parents, one male parent, one female parent, opposite sex parents, like in human. Ultimately, whether from the single parent or from the two different parents, male and female gametes have to come. And these gametes undergo fertilization to form zygote. This makes this reproduction as a sexual reproduction. Without zygote formation, it is not sexual reproduction. And this is how the zygote gives rise to the new organism in a gradual manner. This is the core element in the study of sexual reproduction topic. If you want to understand sexual reproduction, basic things you have to understand that either from a single parent or maybe from two parents of opposite sex. Ultimately, male and female gametes have to be obtained in nature, and they have to be fused with each other to form what is called as zygote. That's the first cell in the life of any new generation organism. This is how a new organism is born, through sexual reproduction. To understand sexual reproduction, first of all, we have to understand the phases of life in any living organism. Just a minute. Fine. Phases of life of any organisms, if you understand, then it becomes clear how the reproduction will go on. For example, if one end refers to birth of the organism and another one refers to death of the organism, from this point to that point, the life of the organism, if you consider. In this, first, after the birth, the phase of the life that starts That is called as juvenile phase in animals, and it is called vegetative phase in plants. Actually, it's the same thing, but is given two different terms. As far as animals are concerned, this phase immediately after the birth till the point when reproduction maturity is achieved. This is the phase which is called as juvenile phase, obviously in animals, and if it was a plant life, the same would be called as vegetative phase. After that comes the second phase called as reproductive phase. The phase of the life after the completion of juvenile phase, once the organism achieves reproductive maturity, with that, juvenile phase gets over and reproductive phase starts at that stage. For this period of reproductive phase, organism is reproductively active. It is capable of carrying out reproduction. And lastly, after completing the reproductive phase, now the remaining period of life till the point of death, it comes under the category of senescence phase. That is called as senescence phase. First is juvenile phase. The phase which starts since birth and it ends at the point when reproductive maturity is achieved in the organism. This term juvenile phase is given for animals for a similar period of life. The term is given vegetative phase in terms of plants' life. Once the organism achieves the reproductive maturity, we say that it has completed its juvenile phase or vegetative phase, and then it enters into its reproductive phase. The one in which organism is capable of carrying out reproduction. Then after completing the reproductive phase, organism enters into another phase of life, which is called as senescence, and then gradually approaches towards the death. It's the phase of old age. This is the senescence phase. Now this pattern shall remain same for all organisms, whether plants or animals, it will remain same. Of course, the period duration will vary from species to species. If it was supposed to be human, for example, so from 0 years onward up to 12 to 15 years, organism achieves reproductive maturity. It's a period of what you call juvenile phase. Then till the age of 45 to 50, it's the period of reproductive phase. And then again, from 45 or 50 till the death of the organism, it's the period of old age or senescence. This is the cycle in case of human being. Now, instead of human being, if something else is there, some other animal, so in that case, these periods lengths will vary. Juvenile phase period may be changed, reproductive phase may be changed, senescence phase may be changed. So every species follows the same pattern, and yet there are variations with respect to the durations for each of this phase in their life. Have you understood this topic? The phases of life? Okay. Our topic is sexual reproduction, which is the most important event in the process of sexual reproduction, without which you cannot imagine the process of sexual reproduction. Which is that key event? Yes, Krisha. Fertilization of gametes to form the zygote. Now, what could be the source of these gametes? What type of parents could be the source of these gametes? It could be opposite sex parents, male and female parents, or it could be even a single parent, bisexual parent. Either of that is a possibility that you have to understand. Example, human may, male member, female member. That's an example of opposite sex parents. And single parent example I have already quoted, that is tapeworm. So whether the same parent or from different parents, gametes are formed. They come under they go through the process of fertilization, fusion. They form the gamete, they form the zygote, and that zygote gives rise to new organism. That is how the process of sexual reproduction progresses. This is in general fusion of gametes to form zygote to give rise to new individual organism. You see, this sexual reproduction is a very elaborate, slow, and complex process. Elaborate. I mean, it's not a simple one-step method. It involves various activities like gamete formation, gamete fusion, the zygote formation, subsequently embryogenesis, and many other aspects are involved in it. So it's first of all not a short, simple process. It's an elaborate, it's a slow process. It takes a lot of time and a very complex one. All this in comparison with asexual reproduction. Number two, the process in which organisms which are produced, the offsprings, are genetically not identical. Exceptional case, homozygotic twins, but barring that exception, most of the time, offsprings produced in sexual reproduction are not clones. All organisms during their life at certain stages, they achieve reproductive maturity. And when they achieve reproductive maturity, their reproductive phase of life starts, during which they reproduce. But to understand this reproductive phase of life, you have to understand the overall life of the organism. That in the life of an organism, there are typically three phases between the point of birth and death. Immediately after the birth, till the point of reproductive maturity being achieved, there is a phase, the phase for growth of the body. What you call this phase as juvenile phase. But that's for animals, isn't it? Animal life. Had it been a plant life and we were discussing that it's growth phase, yes, Swati, it's correct. It's called vegetative phase then. Remember. After completion of a juvenile phase or vegetative phase, respectively in animals or plants, they achieve reproductive maturity. At that stage, which phase of life commence? Yes, it's a reproductive phase. Commencement of reproductive phase at puberty, maturity. This is variable period for the different organisms, different species. Having completed the reproductive phase, now the organism enters into the next phase of life, where neither growing nor reproducing, just passing through aging process. That's called senescence. And ultimately, every organism experiences that final stage of life, and that is called as death. So that was an introduction of sexual reproduction process. Now, in this chapter, we are going to talk about so many different aspects which are related with the sexual reproduction. I would start with the first in that sequence. The three varieties of plants based on, lifespan. Based on the lifespan, you can classify the plants into three different varieties. First of all, annual plants. Second one, biennial plants. Third one, perennial plants. Annual, biennial, and perennial plants. Three varieties of plants based on their lifespan. Make it simple. In annual plants, their lifespan is 1 year or less than that. They complete their entire life. You remember now when you talk about life, which terms come in your mind? First comes birth, then comes juvenile phase, then comes reproductive phase, then comes senescence, and then comes death. You remember these three phases between birth and death? Everything will be completed in the period less than 1 year. If it is so, the plant is called annual one. Examples: maize, wheat, rice, etc., barley, etc. You see, these are the plants which complete their life in a period less than 1 year. I have already explained these three in a chapter number 15, 11th standard. So it's not a new thing for you. Any biennial plants, term itself explains. They complete their life cycle within 2 years. Within 2 years, they have their juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and senescence activities accomplished. Example: carrot, radish, etc. Perennial plants are those which continue to live, to continue to grow, and continue to reproduce for years and years to come, many years. Growth for many years, reproduction for many years. Overall, they live for many years. These kind of plants are known as perennial plants. Banyan tree, Ashoka, mango, neem tree. These are the ones which have a perennial type of category of life. For years and years, they continue to live over there. So that is an introduction of the three varieties of plants based on their lifespan. Have you understood? Annual, biennial, and perennial. See, in case of annual plants and biennial plants, the three phases of life: vegetative phase, reproductive phase, and senescence phase. These three phases are very, very clear, distinct, because lifespan is limited. So every phase has a distinctness in it. These phases are not distinct in case of perennial plants. How many of you understand what I said? Vegetative phase, reproductive phase, senescence phase, they are quite distinct, clearly visible in case of annual and biennial plants. एक clarity है वहां पे because of the short lifespan and a reproduction just once in life. आप imagine करो उनमें reproduction सिर्फ एक बार होता है. Now you imagine about perennial plants, longer lifespan, reproducing every year in a particular season. So the reproduction phase is getting over. Again, it comes for next year. Again, it comes for next year. Such a complicated life cycle. Difficult to make a distinction that its juvenile phase is over, its vegetative phase is over, when its reproductive phase is over, and when its senescence phase is starting. So this distinction is not there in perennial plants. I tried to explain from my side with this explanation. If somebody has not understood, I can go in detail with the diagrammatic picture of 3 cycles: annual, biennial, and perennial. I can show you the 3 cycles and give you the insight over what I have taught, that what are these 3 cycles and why first and second, the annual and biennial, exhibit clear distinction within their phases of life, and why not such distinction in case of perennial plants. Does anyone want to go through the cycles themselves? So I can show you, otherwise I can move to the next topic. Yes for next topic or yes for cycle? They are not there in syllabus, but you want to be overburdened, I am ready for that. Yes, you want to see the cycles, then we can go for that. I don't mind. What are annual plants? Come on, speak. Which complete their life cycle in a 1 year or period lesser to that. Which are the examples of annual plants? Rice and wheat. Excellent. We go to the details. Look, if this is the point when the plant has started its life cycle, this is the period in which it will go for its vegetative phase. Then after phase comes when it has a reproductive phase in which it will develop flowers and will carry out reproduction. And then after it has a senescence phase. After completing reproduction and seed and fruit formation, the plant will gradually complete its senescence and will ultimately die over there. Birth, death, and in between you have a vegetative phase, reproductive phase, and senescence phase very clearly seen. Annual plants में कोई doubt? Fine, we move to the next one. Biennial plants. Point when they are born, point when they are experiencing death. In between, they have a longer vegetative phase. Actually, after the completion of first year's vegetative growth, they experience a dormancy, and then again they resume their vegetative growth. Then they become ready for reproduction. So they go through their reproductive phase. And then after reproduction, they will go for their senescence phase. If you understand, here again, it's the same thing. Clear-cut distinction of vegetative phase, of reproductive phase, and that of senescence phase. Again, it is very clear. The only difference is that overall life is compared with the annual one. Overall life is of 2 years, and vegetative phase is lasting for longer duration than the previous one. What are biennial plants? Come on, what are biennial plants? They complete their life cycle in 2 years. Excellent. Which are biennial plants? 2 to 3 examples. Carrot, radish. Any other example can you quote other than the carrot and radish? Hanben. Yep, Yug, correct. Beet. Third category. What are perennial plants? Tell me. They continue to grow for years, repeatedly reproduce, isn't it? Flowering is repetitively seen in them. So it's a very complicated aspect that they first of all have their uh, vegetative phase, then they have their reproductive phase, and then they don't have the senescence. Then comes dormancy period, and again next month, next year, a particular season, again they will go for reproductive phase. Again they go for dormancy for remaining period. Neither they reproduce nor they show senescence, but they continue to grow actually. If it is a dicot with a secondary growth, they can continue to grow over there. So there is nothing like a senescence phase at present in their life. And last time when they will flower, let's say the plant has a life of 30 years, for example. So after completing the reproduction on the last year, and then the senescence will start in it. So it's a very prolonged reproductive phase in which reproduction is done. Again, there is a dormancy, and again there is an entry in a vegetative growth. Again, there is a reproductive growth. Again, there is a vegetative growth. So alternately, vegetative and reproductive growth keep on occurring, and a very short phase at the end where senescence is there. So there is no clear distinction of phases of life the way they are to be seen in annual and biennial plants. That's the issue regarding the perennial plants over there. Can we have the names of few perennial plants? Yes, plenty are the examples of the same, and you have rightly quoted. Neem, Ashoka, etc. So you are correct. We go to the next point in the same. Now, again, some examples of plants with a very unusual flowering pattern. Plants which are having very unusual flowering pattern. So again, it makes it very difficult to define the reproductive phase and senescence phase and vegetative phase in the life cycle of such plants. Two interesting examples have been quoted. Let's go through it. Number one is a bamboo plant. Bamboo plant will have a flowering once in a life, and that too after 50 to 100 years. Isn't it interesting one? You have a bamboo plant. These bamboo plants, since sapling stages, they start growing. Their extended vegetative phase lasts for how much time? 50 to 100 years. Until at one point, let's say even 50 years. So for 50 years, a plant continues to grow under the vegetative phase. And suddenly after 15 years, it will have a large number of flowers together. And soon it will complete its life cycle and will experience senescence, and it is over. Greatly expanded vegetative phase and just one time flowering and then senescence. Now, first of all, they live for many years, so we cannot call them annual. They are perennial. But if it is a perennial one, every year it should have a flowering, which is not the case. Such a complicated, messy kind of life cycle, you may even call it as an interesting one, even that's fine. So I would call it as an unusual type of life cycle. Doesn't fit into annual, biennial, perennial. It's a unique, its own kind of life cycle. Have you understood this much? For 50 years to 100 years, only vegetative growth and having flowering only once in life. That's the life cycle of bamboo plant. There is another interesting one. Here is the one. A plant which is called as Strobilus strobilenthus kunthiana. Strobilenthus kunthiana. This is genus Strobilenthus. Kunthiana is a species, and its popular name is Neelakuranji. Popularly known as Neelakuranji. This is the one which tends to grow in areas, hilly areas of southern parts of India, mainly Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Interesting aspect is that these plants will have a flowering after 12 years. Every 12 years, they have a high mistake. After every 12 years, they will have a flowering. You can imagine you have a patch of Neelakuranji on the hill, and in that, flowers do not appear for 12 years. And after every 12 years rotation or cycle, again they have a flowering. 2006 October was the period in which flowering was done. Then after it was 2018 October. Can you imagine such an interesting one? Now, next round of reproduction or flower appearance in Nilakuranji in southern India will be in which year? Exactly. So can you imagine such an interesting life cycle wherein reproduction is appearing, but that too after 12 years time period? So these were two very interesting plants with very unusual patterns of their, unusual patterns of their reproduction. So difficult to fit them into any of these categories which we have studied about perennial, biennial, and annual, etc. Question number 1. For how many times bamboo plant shows flowering in its life? Bamboo plant में flowering कितने बार होता है life में? One time. Interesting and most important one. And it occurs after how many years in the life? Exactly, Devanshi. 50 to 100 years. What's the scientific name of Neelakuranji? Neelakuranji ka scientific name? Yes, Devanshi, correct. Strobilanthes kuntania. Kunthiana, my mistake. Strobilanthes kunthiana is the scientific name of it. In which parts of India the hilly areas are having this varieties of plants? Yes, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, correct. And after how many years the flowering is gonna take place in these plants? 12. We go for our next topic. Again, related with the sexual reproduction, certain different aspects of the same. That is here. The sexual reproduction in animals, in that seasonal aspects of reproduction, seasonal aspects of reproduction. See, one thing is for sure that when it comes to animals, it's their juvenile phase when they will grow after the birth. An ultimate destination is to achieve reproductive maturity. Am I right or wrong? Juvenile phase is the period between birth point and till the point of achieving reproductive maturity. And in between, the organism will achieve physical growth. During this, a lot of physical and morphological changes occur in the organism. Not only that, but even behavioral changes come. Prior to this reproductive phase, definitely the organism has to go through certain changes, and most important changes are the morphological and the physiological changes that must take place over there, that can make the organism reproductively mature. After achieving reproduction, there are two possibilities regarding the animals. Number one, mostly mammals में ये दो varieties होती है. Mammals, we will focus on the reproduction in mammals particularly. Yeah. during the reproductive phase, at the time of reproduction, the way the organisms show the breeding pattern, we can classify these organisms, particularly mammals, into two categories. Those mammals which are belonging to first category called seasonal breeders. They will reproduce only during favorable seasons over there. The period of reproductive phase may be the one, but in that they will reproduce in a particular season. Let's say that lion life is there. Its birth stage to its death stage. Let's say from 8 years to 20 years is the life in which it is able to reproduce. But in this 12 years or 14 years of reproductive life, it will reproduce every year in a particular season. Prior to monsoon, that is the season when they reproduce. So May, June is the period which is their breeding season. So they may reproduce over this longer duration in the life of the lioness. The reproduction will continue for this longer period in its life. But in this period also, every year in a particular season only, they are going to reproduce. We call this as seasonal breeders. Those mammals which reproduce only during a particular favorable season in their reproductive phase. अच्छा, वो सीजन जुवेनाइल फेज में आया या सेनेसेंस में आया तो तब तो रिप्रोड्यूस नहीं कर सकते थे, बट रिप्रोडक्टिव फेज में, और वो भी उस पर्टिकुलर सीजन में वो रिप्रोडक्शन करते हैं. दूसरा कैटेगरी है कॉन्टिन्यूअस ब्रीडर्स लाइक एप्स, mice, humans, etc. You see, during their breeding period, during during their reproductive phase, they can breed in any period, any season. Throughout the reproductive phase, they are capable of carrying out reproduction. ह्यूमन की लाइफ में अगर कंसिडर करें कि 15 इयर्स से 45 इयर्स की लाइफ में एक फीमेल का जो रिप्रोडक्टिव फेज है, तो इन ऑल इयर्स ऑफ दिस रिप्रोडक्टिव फेज, व्हेन कैन अ फीमेल रिप्रोड्यूस? एनी टाइम. It's not that this month, this season, that season. So in them, the reproductive activities can be carried out throughout any time of or any season or any period of their reproductive phase. We call it as continuous breeder. Any question? Based on the period of breeding within their reproductive phase, mammals are classified into two categories. Which is the first category? Seasonal breeder. Examples? Yes, wild cats. Within the reproductive phase of their life, they reproduce only in specific seasons. Mostly they are supposed to be the favorable seasons. We call it as seasonal breeders. Which is the second category? Continuous breeders. Examples? Apes, mice, humans, etc. This means continuous breeder means the one during its reproductive phase of life can reproduce in any season throughout the entire phase of reproductive life. It can reproduce. We call it as continuous breeder. That is about the two types of organisms. You know, many of the organisms other than mammals are also showing this kind of patterns. जैसे frogs का breeding season होता है monsoon, You may have heard about it. Am I right or wrong? Have you heard about it or not? Their breeding period is monsoon. Suna hai aapne? Yes. Similarly, many birds have a specific breeding season. So of course, poultry birds which are there, they to give they lay the eggs or they reproduce in a continuous manner. So, hello, am I audible? Huh. So what I am trying to say is that birds mostly they are seasonal breeder, but in poultry business we make them to breed regularly as a continuous breeder with the help of hormonal injections, because their continuous breeding can only give us adequate commercial benefits over there. So we can make a seasonal breeder convert into a continuous breeder with the help of injections. It is possible. That was one aspect. Another aspect regarding the sexual reproduction, it's here. Shiv, but you have a question at the end of the session. You ask me. Slide number 7. Where is that? Okay, another aspect. Again, in a mammalian females, this is a phenomenon pertaining to the mammalian females. They experience two different types of reproductive cycles. One is called estrous cycle, another one is called menstrual cycle. The placental mammals, specifying the word placental mammals, mammals which are placental, they have a placenta formation over there. So placental mammals, in them the females are experiencing two different types of reproductive cycles. One is estrous cycle and another one is a menstrual cycle. Basically, these reproductive cycles are all about the cyclic changes in the activities of their ovaries, of their reproductive ducts such as oviducts, uterus, etc., mainly uterus, and the hormonal changes that are taking place during the period of reproductive phases of life. मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन करता हूं, जैसे एक ह्यूमंस की लाइफ में अगर कंसिडरेशन किया जाए, ह्यूमंस कम अंडर प्लेसेंटल मैमल्स. Specifically, they are the primates, and primates experience menstrual type of cycle in their females. So after the birth of a female, completion of the juvenile phase, when the female enters into the reproductive phase at the stage of puberty, 12 to 13 years, in the female's body one particular cycle starts called menstrual cycle. Along with that, there is another cycle that is going on which is called as ovarian cycle. What happens in this is that when ovaries become active for oogenesis, there are changes that are taking place in the ovary regarding the oogenesis act. Parallelly, there are changes that are taking place in the uterus of the female, that's accessory duct. Its uterine wall contents sludge out in a particular period called menstruation. In the remaining period, it gets built up for the anticipation of possible implantation. And all this has been regulated by hormonal changes in her body. A female in a reproductive phase of her life, every 28 days cycle that she is experiencing, she has lot of hormonal changes also to experience in her life every month. We experience that mood swings and behavioral differences are a lot of there in females, but it's a nature that has given this inbuilt arrangement that unlike the female, males have males do not have these kind of hormonal changes normally, but in a female life, right from 12 years to 13 years till the 45 years, they experience menopause. Menarche is the first menstruation, menopause is the last one, like that. So in this entire lifespan, up to 45 years, every month, 28 days cycle called menstrual cycle, hormonal levels go to the extreme from lowest to highest, and that has a lot of impact on their psychological aspects. So this is the reason why we see that females experience a lot of mood swings, lot of behavioral differences within the 28-day cycle, that you have to understand. So what I'm focusing upon is that in general, those which are placental mammal females, they do have certain changes taking place within their ovaries, within their uterus, and their hormonal levels of their body. These changes take place during the reproductive phases of life, and these changes take place in a cyclic manner. Now, these cycles related with such changes are categorized into two. One is called estrous cycle, another one is called menstrual cycle. During estrous cycle, which occurs in a non-primates, mammals के दो क्लासिफिकेशन में दो आएंगे फर्दर, प्राइमेट्स एंड नॉन प्राइमेट्स. तो प्राइमेट्स में क्या होता है? ऑर्डर प्राइमेटा के मेंबर्स, एप्स, मंकीज, chimpanzees, gorillas, humans, they all come under primate category. Their reproductive cycle in the female related with these changes, ovary, uterus, and hormonal changes, it is called as a menstrual cycle, the one which I explained to you in humans, that every certain period of time, sludging of uterine wall, that's called menstruation, and again rebuilding of that uterine wall. These repetitive cycles, when they go on, they are called menstrual cycle. They are seen in monkeys, they are seen in apes, and they are seen in humans also. But in case of non-primates, like dogs and rats and cats and sheep and cow and other such, tiger and lion, etc., their reproductive cycle with the changes in ovaries activity and uterine activity and hormonal activity, collectively known as estrous cycle. It's called estrous cycle. That is different from menstrual cycle. They do not menstruate. They do discard this stuff, uterine stuff, but then they reabsorb it in the body itself. So they do not discard it outside the body. That cycle is called estrous cycle. So two different types of reproductive cycles are seen in placental mammals. Question from your side. No question. Placental mammals, in their females, they exhibit reproductive cycles, the ones in which they have a cyclic changes to see in their ovaries, in their accessory reproductive ducts, and in their hormonal levels. All these changes taking place in their females are called reproductive cycles. They are categorized into two. Which is the first category? Estrous cycle, OES-TRUS, estrous cycle. Which organisms exhibit estrous cycle? Non-primates में examples, yes, cats, dogs, etc. Which is the second category of cycle? Menstrual cycle. Which group exhibits it? Primates, those which belong to order Primata. And which members will be the one under the primates? Monkeys, apes, humans. Excellent. Break for few minutes. Exactly 10:40. 10:45 we start again. Till then, rest, take a break. Now, we know that there is a tremendous diversity in the living world, plant world, animal world. If you see right from algae to gymno and angiosperms, right from protozoans to higher forms till mammals, so much of diversity. In spite of this tremendous diversity, there is a remarkable similarity in patterns and processes which are related with sexual reproduction. So somewhere sexual reproduction has evolved with certain common patterns that are prevalent in all members of this living world. So we can, for our convenience, we can classify the entire process of sexual reproduction into three major sets of events which are taking place in all organisms, and that includes pre-fertilization events, fertilization events, and post-fertilization events. That's how we can divide the entire process of sexual reproduction into three major sets of events only for our understanding and convenience. Naturally, it's a continuous process. Let's first go for the first amongst these three, and that is pre-fertilization events. Two of them, gamete formation, that's called gametogenesis, and gamete transfer. These are the two activities. We would start with the first in that is gametogenesis. Before I go in detail, I hope you understand that gametes are the cells which will participate in reproduction, sexual reproduction. Normally they are haploid. Have you heard about these things? Okay. And normally they are produced in the sex organs like ovaries and testes in male, testes in female ovaries. Whereas in the plants, if you see, female gametes to be born in ovary and male gametes in antheridia or pollen sac. So these are basically the basic informations about the gametes. Male gamete formation is oogenesis, spermatogenesis in animals. So X and Y gametes only. X and Y are not gametes, they are the chromosomes. So male में spermatogenesis, female में oogenesis as far as animals are concerned. अगर प्लांट्स की बात करें तो मेल में माइक्रोस्पोरोजेनेसिस और फीमेल में मेगास्पोरोजेनेसिस, ये उनके गैमेट फॉर्मेशन प्रोसेस के बारे में बात चल रही है. बट बेसिकली वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट process of formation of gametes, whether male gametes or female gametes. Their formation is called as gametogenesis. Simple. Now, certain other aspects regarding the gametes. For example, there are two categories of reproductions based on the gametes: isogamous type of reproduction and anisogamous type of reproduction. In isogamous type of reproduction, the gametes are similar. We say they exhibit homogametic condition. Example, Cladophora, Ulothrix, etc. Anisogamous type of sexual reproduction is the one in which heterogametic status is there. The two gametes which are participating in the fertilization are different from each other with respect to their morphology, their appearance, size, etc. We call it as a heterogametic condition. Already this was taught in 11th standard chapter number 3. So not going in detail. Example, Volvox, Fucus, Cara, human, etc. I'll show you the pics. Where is it? See, isogamete condition of Cladophora. You can make out the two gametes to fertilize to form the zygote. They are similar. Both are flagellated, motile, equal sized. No distinction like male or female. This is isogametic condition. Example, Cladophora. Look at this one, second example. Heterogametic condition in case of Fucus. This is the female gamete, large in size, non-motile, static. This is the male gamete. This is the male gamete, flagellated, motile, small in size. So that's an example of heterogametic condition. Obviously in alga. Similarly in humans, if you see again, female gamete, static, large, non-motile. Male gametes, the sperms, motile, flagellated structures. So I hope these terms are clear to you. Homogametic condition and heterogametic condition. When gametes participating in fertilization are similar in their morphology and other features, it is called homogametic condition. The reproduction will be called isogamous kind of reproduction. When gametes participating in fertilization are different, dissimilar in their morphology, we call it as heterogametic condition. Such a reproduction shall be called as anisogamous kind of reproduction. Examples are quoted. The gametes, normally male gametes and female gametes, which are involved in the sexual reproduction. In general, you can call them as male and female gametes. But specifically in plants, they are called anthrozoid and ovum. Anthrozoid are the male gametes, ovum is a female gamete. In case of animals, the terms are altered. The male gamete is given the term sperm, female gamete is called as egg. Meaning remains same, male and female gametes. Any question? No, fine. The entire process of sexual reproduction can be classified into three major sets of events. First set of events are called what? Pre-fertilization events. Second set of events in the sexual reproduction are called what? Yes, fertilization events. You guys are correct. And which is the last set of events involved in the sexual reproduction? Post fertilization events. Under the pre fertilization set of events, which two major events are included? Gametogenesis, the process of gamete formation, and gamete transfer. Correct. Gamete is the term used for those haploid cells which normally participate in the sexual reproduction. Based on the type of gametes, two possibilities are there. When gametes are morphologically dissimilar, what you call that condition of gametes as dissimilar? Heterogametic condition, Kea, Krisha, etc. Correct. And such a reproduction would be called which one? Anisogamous. Dhruvi Patel. Well done, Dhruvi. Examples? Yes, Devanshi. Volvox, Fucus, Cara, humans, frogs, etc. When you have a similar gametes, morphologically similar gametes involved in the reproduction, yes, Devanshi, homogametic condition, it is called as Kea, Priya and all. And such a type of sexual reproduction should be called which category? Yes, Shruti and all. Isogamous. That's called isogamous. Examples of isogamy showing organisms. Yeah, Priya and all, Devanshi. Cladophora, Vandit, Yug, Cladophora, Chlamydomonas, Eulothrix, etc. What's the term employed for the male gamete in plants? Krish, anthrozoid is correct. Krisha was the one. I could not see that. What's the term employed for the male gamete in animals? Kashish wrong. Diksha wrong. Shruti and Shruti only. It's a sperm. Yeah. What's the name of female gamete amongst plants? Ovum, isn't it? And Diviraj, wrong. Ovum is the answer. And what about the female gamete in animals termed as egg? Let's go to the next important aspects of reproduction, the sexuality in organisms. That's our next topic. What kind of sexuality is there in the various organisms? Regarding that, our next topic. Look, overall topic is sexuality in organism. First of all, we discuss about sexuality in animals. There are two possibilities in animals. Either the animals are bisexual or they are unisexual. Simple logic. In a bisexual animal, same organism will carry testes and ovaries. It will produce sperms as well as ova, egg. This is, bisexuality. Another term employed for the same is hermaphrodite. प्लांट्स में यूज नहीं कर सकते ये वर्ड, बट बाइसेक्सुअल एनिमल्स के लिए एक दूसरा वर्ड एम्प्लॉय हो सकता है, hermaphrodite. Same body with testes to produce male gametes and ovaries to produce egg. We call it as a hermaphrodite or a bisexual animal. Example: leech, tapeworm, earthworm, etc. अब देखो एक इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट, टेपवर्म बाइसेक्सुअल एंड सेल्फ फर्टिलाइजेशन में फॉलो करता है, अर्थवर्म बाइसेक्सुअल है बट क्रॉस फर्टिलाइजेशन में फॉलो करता है। ये समझ में आता है आपको ये पॉइंट? डू यू गेट दिस पॉइंट व्हाट आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग? दैट्स गुड। इफ देयर इज समवन हु हैज नॉट अंडरस्टूड, लेट मी नो। कॉमन फीचर बिटवीन अर्थवर्म एंड टेपवर्म इज बोथ आर बाइसेक्सुअल, but difference is that tapeworm being bisexual, it shows self fertilization, whereas earthworm being bisexual, still it shows cross fertilization. Good, you are developing the understanding. That's a good part. The other one is unisexuality. Oh, plenty of the organisms, animals I should say, where within the species male and female sexes are separate. Male member with the testes and female member with the ovaries are distinct and separate. Example: frog, male frog, female frog. Example: cockroach, male cockroach, female cockroach. Example: human. In males and in humans, there are males and females are distinct and separate. Do you understand this aspect in animals, the sexuality in animals? Achha. Let's talk about the sexuality in plants. In this particularly, first of all, when we discuss about the algae and plants, lower plants particularly, lower plants I am focusing, and even fungi, I would specify mainly in algae, in fungi, and in lower plants. The two terms that are used are, for example, for bisexual organisms of this category, they normally use the word homothallic and monoecious. ये क्या होता है? होमोथैलिक वो होता है जिसमें single thallus is present, no male thallus, no female thallus, no such distinction is there, and in this single thallus, male sex organs are also present, female sex organs are also present. That makes it monoecious. Have you followed? Example: Rixia and Cara. Cara is the alga. The opposite to this is a unisexuality in these organisms, wherein normally they are heterothallic. First of all, means male thallus with antheridia, like in Markantia, male thallus with antheridia, and separate female thallus with archegonia. I'm sure you remember in Markantia, antheridio4, a cluster of antheridia, the male sex organs, on a male thallus, and archegonia4, a cluster of archegonia on a female thallus. So you have two different thalli in a same species, same organism. Markantia is the organism, but male thallus and female thallus are distinct. And because they are unisexual, male thallus with the male sex organ and female thallus with the female sex organ, we call it as a dioecious. Classic example is Markantia. Do you understand this much? मैं आपको डायग्राम के थ्रू एक्सप्लेन करता हूं, आपको अंडरस्टैंड करना है, And yet, if some doubts are left in your mind, feel free to ask. You can ask questions. I will reply. Look at this Chara algae. In this alga, the same thallus, this is the thallus of the Chara alga, the body, in which this is the oogonium, the female sex organ, and this is the antheridium, the male sex organ. Should I call this homothallic or heterothallic? Tell me, Chara. Is it homothallic? Yes, it's a homothallic, isn't it? Same thallus with both sex organs, so it's a homothallic. It is monoecious or dioecious? Exactly, Priya and Dhruvi and all. Monoecious. Because it's a bisexual animal, my mistake, bisexual plant. For bisexual plant, the word is monoecious, where both the sex organs are found on the same plant. Now that was a profile of Chara, the one which is homothallic, because it has the same thallus that bears male and female sex organs, and it is monoecious. Here the sexes are not separate. That is the one example. I go to the next example. Markantia. This is the Markantia, a bryophyte. This is male thallus. This is female thallus. One is a male thallus, another one is a female thallus. Tell me, homothallic or heterothallic? Exactly, heterothallic. Male thallus with anthridiophore, the cluster of anthridia. Female thallus with archigoniophore, the cluster of archigonia. Here, sexes are separate. So should I call it monoecious or dioecious? Exactly, Vrunda and all, Khushi and all. So I have explained to you in Chara and Markantia in detail that Chara being homothallic and monoecious variety, Markantia being heterothallic and dioecious variety. Now, in these aspects, if you have not understood anything, so let me know. I will explain again. Any question? No question from your side. I'm just going through those points which I have explained. Hermaphrodite or bisexual animal, the earthworm, where male gametes and female gametes both are produced in the same. Whereas in the case of cockroach, being unisexual one, male with the testes and female with the ovaries over there. Last point related with the sexuality in organisms, and that is pertaining to flowering plants. In flowering plants, a plant can be monoecious, the one in which on a same plant, male flowers and female flowers are born separately. Male flowers and female flowers are born separately. Same plant. Some are male flowers, some are female flowers. Coconut, cucumber, etc. वैसे तो ये bisexual plant है, but it is monoecious also. The other category, look at this male plant with only staminate flowers, that's the male flowers, stamen carrying flowers. A female plant with only pistillate flowers, the flowers with the pistil or carpel. Those plants in which, in a given species, male plant carries male flowers, female plant carries female flowers. So male and female plants are separate with respectively having male flowers and female flowers. We call this category as the dioecious plants. Isn't it that they are unisexual? Am I right or wrong? A given plant is either a male plant or a given plant is a female plant. यही possibility होती है. So male and female flowers are born on separate plants, respectively male plant and a female plant. This arrangement indicates that these are dioecious plants, unisexual in nature. Example, papaya and date palm. कोकोनट का या कुकुरबिट का प्लांट बाइसेक्सुअल प्लांट है, बट पपाया इज अ यूनिसेक्सुअल प्लांट. चाहे या तो वो मेल पपाया प्लांट होगा या तो वो फीमेल पपाया प्लांट होगा, या तो वो मेल पाम होगा डेट पाम या तो वो फीमेल डेट पाम होगा. ये डिस्टिंक्शन क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए आपके माइंड में. बोलो, पता चला क्या? Bisexual monoecious plants, example, cucurbits and coconut. The ones in which on a same plant, male flowers and female flowers are born separately. Unisexual dioecious plants, such as date palm and papaya, wherein male flowers are born on a male plant and female flowers are born on a female plant. So male and female plants are distinct and separate. We call it as a unisexual dioecious plant category. Have you understood? देखिए, एक तीसरी कैटेगरी वो होती है कि जहां पे बाइसेक्सुअल प्लांट है एंड बाइसेक्सुअल फ्लावर्स भी है. आप इसको देखो, यूनिसेक्सुअल प्लांट विथ यूनिसेक्सुअल फ्लावर्स. इसको देखो, बाइसेक्सुअल प्लांट विथ यूनिसेक्सुअल फ्लावर. एम आई राइट और रॉन्ग? प्लांट बाइसेक्सुअल है लेकिन फ्लावर तो कैसे है? यूनिसेक्सुअल. मेल फ्लावर इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम फीमेल फ्लावर. एम आई राइट और रॉन्ग? और आपको एक तीसरी कैटेगरी देता हूं, जैसे हिबिस्कस. वो बाइसेक्सुअल प्लांट विद बाइसेक्सुअल फ्लावर. प्लांट भी एक बाइसेक्सुअल और उसके ऊपर फ्लावर में भी नो डिस्टिंक्शन ऑफ मेल एंड फीमेल. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड द थर्ड कैटेगरी आल्सो? So that kind of understanding you have to develop. Quick recap of these last topics to wind up the matter. A plant in which male flowers are born on a male plant and female flowers are born separately on a female plant. What do you call this variety? For this unisexual varieties, what word is used? Dioecious plant. Give me the two examples of the same. Correct. Anil, Vandit, Pari, Devanshi and all. Good. What do you call a plant in which same bisexual plant has a unisexual flowers, male flowers and female flowers born on the same. That's the monoecious one. Give the examples of the same. Coconut and cucumber, that's correct. Well, I have to share one observation of mine. I have made some observation which I would like to share with you. You have been participating actively compared to last year. Obviously, this is the initial stage. I wish you continue with the same till the last lecture. But in general, I have observed more number of participants are there compared with 11. Boys are participating actively, and majority of you have been giving correct answers. So at least active participation in this learning process is something you have improved upon this point. So let me congratulate you all for the same, and very happy for this thing, appreciable point of yours. Please carry on with the same. Do you agree or not that you yourself comparing with 11 standard, have you started participating or not? Those at least who are not participating. How many of you feel that you have also started participating? Or my observation is wrong? Okay, few of them at least accept. So well done to all those who have started participating, and well done to all those who have been doing it since 11th. But you all are at par now, at the same level now. You all are participating, so I appreciate that. You can leave the meet. It is over. See you in the next lecture. But Shiv has a doubt. So Shiv, you can unmute and ask. I will reply. Our meeting is over. You can leave. Shiv, you can ask your question in between.
Yes, sir.
બોલીએ.
Sir, sir, can I speak in Gujarati? It will be comfortable.
હા, મને ખબર પડે છે ગુજરાતી.
હા, sir. તો મેં સર એક જગ્યા પર જોયું હતું ગૂગલ પર કે સૌથી યંગેસ્ટ લેડી વર્લ્ડમાં 6 year old ની છે. તો સર એ લોકોને સર મેચ્યોરિટી પણ ના હોય સર, તો પણ એ લોકો મધર બની શકે?
See, humans માં reproductive phase normally start થાય 12 years થી. End થાય 45 years. Okay? But there can always be few exceptions. કે કોઈનામાં exceptionally ovary earlier start થઈ ગયો હોય active થવાની. તો એ possibility છે કે 6 years ની એજમાં એની ovary active થઈ હોય અને copulation થયું હોય તો she can conceive, which is a very rarest of rare event possible છે. Similarly 45 years જે menopause થવું જોઈએ કે stop થવું જોઈએ આ cycle, but there are ladies કે 50 years ની એજમાં બી એમને conceive કર્યું છે. તો એક general rule છે કે 12 years plus or minus 1 year to 45 years plus or minus few years is their reproductive period. But there can be few individuals out of this billions of population on earth. There is possibility a few individuals may have exceptional cases કે લોકો આ એજ થી beyond માં પણ reproduction carry કરી શક્યા છે. So 6 years થી લઈને 50 years ના cases available છે. Agreed. Okay? Take it as an exceptional case.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, આવા question તો ચાલશે ને?
Yes. But thing is કે આપણે end માં એટલે કેવું છે કે બાકી બધાને એકવાર નીકળી જવું હોય, એમનો ટાઈમ એ ના થાય. બરાબર? Most welcome. હા ને?
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Welcome.